Three waiting. Okay, we'll start sharp. Okay, I think we're good to start. People will slowly join. Okay, good evening, everyone. Give some reactions, um, Vaibhav and the rest of you on the Zoom so that we feel that we are not on virtual session. So welcome to this session. We have exactly 30 minutes and I totally understand that time is most precious for you right now. And I do not want to take any extra minute, out of the hour that you have. I think it's just to kind of see each other. We studied together. We had good time learning auditing together, right? So it's always important for us to disconnect before the exam. That's what I think we're doing it. Just relax, refresh, recharge, get ready for your auditing examination. So what I'll do for next maybe 20-25 minutes, I'll keep it short and crisp, is to remind you some of the important exam oriented points which we would have learned across these sessions. I'm sure you've learned so much. You would have seen so many tips, right? There's so much that we all the time see, but what we always forget is we forget to remember what we already know, right? So that is what we are trying to do in this particular session today. I will quickly, I think, go back to the point what we wanted to discuss. Very simple. I think we are just trying to understand how the question paper is structured. Most of this, I'll keep it very simple and short for you. Some places I'll spend some time. And again, more refreshing. Just please sit relaxed, right? I am not asking you have you done homeworks today, right? So you can actually just smile, relax. Uh, ensure that your state of mind is peaceful right now. So how does your exam question paper appears? The question paper has two parts in auditing. You have 30 marks of an MCQ and 70 marks of the descriptive questions. You know this because some of you might have in IPCC also have gone through MCQ patterns. So you know this, but some of you have not gone through or not aware. Just be very clear that you will get basically three documents in the exam: two question papers and one OMR sheet. Right? You will get 70 marks descriptive question paper, you will get MCQ question paper, and you will get OMR sheet. And ensure that you collect all of it and don't get panic in between the exam that, okay, I haven't got something. So might as well just check when you start the examination, when the examiner, or rather when the invigilator gives you the question paper, check whether you have everything which you are supposed to get to write the answers. The duration of the exam is, of course, 3 hours, as you know, and you're not allowed to leave the exam hall before 3 hours. So make the appropriate time of that 3 hours. You've already finished two exams, so you now know how to enter the chakra view, and you also know how to come out, right? You've understood what is the exam fear is gone now. It's the same room. I know where do I sit, and everything is being settled. So you can be more relaxed for a subject like auditing, because subject itself has too many things to remember. Now you don't have to remember, which room I have to go, where I have to go. All of that headache is not there for you. It is straight. I think you go to your place, sit, relax, right, and then write whatever you know and come back. So that's how you will keep the approach to be. Now, talking about auditing, now I'm not going to tell you, just kind of a short day before the exam that what you need to read, how much you need to read. All of that is absolutely your timetable. Don't even ask anybody what to read now, because whatever you have read is more than enough according to me, and you've done really good job. If you have put your heads down, you were hardworking, you were committed, you always were desperate to make the exams happen for you. You were always, being proactive. I think there's no reason that why you should worry today, right? You should be very calm, and you should just believe in yourself, believe in your efforts. I have done the best, so the exam has to go the best. And then I think I have full confidence on you that I know most of you whom I can see they're joining in the Zoom, and some of you are joining in the YouTube. I know how hardworking most of you were, and this will definitely give you good results, right? So as far as auditing subject is concerned, you know how to divide the subject. We had standards in auditing, we have company audit, we have professional ethics, and we have miscellaneous topics. From an importance perspective, we know that the company audit carries a lot of importance from a case laws perspective. So remember that in mind, revise one or two case laws very well, and take a pen, put down a pen to a paper, practice one or two case laws the way it is written in the suggested answers. The I think the way ICI writes the case laws, right? Just practice one, put your pen to paper and practice one at least before the examination, so that your flow of thoughts is very clear. Specifically, now that you're writing a theory paper after two practical papers, you will have to get your flow of thoughts very clear, because here you don't have numbers, you have a lot of words, right? So your mind has to get absorbed to that words very quickly. So it ensure that that particular pattern is clear for you, and remember all the essays. Remember essay numbers very clearly. I know it is all by heart for you, it's there. Even if I think I ask you anyone to say essay numbers, I'm confident all of you will say essay numbers. Am I, can I say it confidently? Yes,
Yes,
people on the Zoom, some response.
yes, ma'am.
Amazing, right? So you know that, so you know the essay numbers well. Just remember so that you can interlink the essay numbers pretty well. Company audit sections, chapter 10 sections of the company audit, please do remember. Section 139 to section 147 related to the auditing, related sections, please remember some of the important subsections that we discussed. You know what are the important subsections? 141 subsection 3 is important, 143 subsection 3 is important, 141 subsection 1 is important. So you know some of these important subsections, also make an effort to remember. You will for sure know that okay, there is a question going to be in disqualification of auditors section, so might as well try to ensure that your answers are very qualitative, right? And you've actually practiced well. Most importantly, I'm again repeating that practice at least 2 to 3 pages of writing so that your speed comes up naturally fast in exam. Now that you've solved two practical papers, theory paper, you have to pick up the speed very fast, and you have to write multiple pages of an answer, and for that you have to be ready. So ensure you write like 2 to 3 pages. Ensure that you don't use a new pen, especially when you're writing theory answers. A new pen is slow to start with, so use the one which is like 3/4 over or maybe half over. Keep like 2 3 pens of that sort so that you're not practicing to write with the new pen all of a sudden. It just slows down your entire writing speed. Essays are must to read, you know this. I think you have already read this. Whatever you have read this, just believe in it, right? Just be comfortable with what you have read. If you have read the class notes, very good. You have read some other author's book, very good. You have read study material, okay, very good. If you have read study material, amazing, right? And if you have read anything else, just be confident on what you have read. Essays are essays everywhere. You should not be panicking at the last minute that "Ayyo, ido ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, I didn't read this, I should have read that." Now there's no point panicking, right? So ensure that you are absolutely getting comfortable on interlinking of essays. Remember important Companies Act sections. I spoke about it, right? Must to remember chapter 10 rules, right? Remember some of the important rules of chapter 10. That's important. Professional ethics. I have a next slide. I'll come to you quickly, but I think you know what to remember in professional ethics. Remember the miscellaneous chapters are also important. It carries an equal attention. Having said that, don't spend 1.5 day on miscellaneous chapters and then you have no time to spend on essays, company audit, or professional ethics. Give an equal attention, divide your time to the extent I think that particular topic deserves the time. Do a well coverage revision. If you've already made a short notes, revise from your short notes. Ensure that you are covering in your own style whatever has been prepared for your revision. The last minute revision materials that you have, just ensure you repeat all of this and revise all of that once. Now, I think this is something which is specifically in auditing. Interlinking essays is important. I kept on telling, for example, some of the essays are interlinked to every essay, 230, right? Documentation, 530 audit sampling, 510 initial audit engagements and opening balances. Some of these are interlinked to many other essays. So you should be, and I think you also remember one of the principle that I taught you, right? If it's 1 mark, try to get 2 interlinks. If it's 2 marks, try to get 4 interlinks. I'm not saying this is the mantra that you have to do this way, but it's important, especially in CA final. It's most important to create the maximum interlinks, maximum linkages, maximum correlations, right? The maximum depth of the subject. Like, don't just dig and write answer on one particular paragraph. Take it on a holistic basis. Do a 360-degree answer in the examination. Okay, if there is a question, angle from Companies Act, angle from Income Tax Act, angle from accounting, angle from standards and auditing, angle from guidance notes, right? Or any other thing that which I feel is important for this particular topic, I'll have to bring all of it. I think one other thing which I would have told you and I'll repeat is sometimes in theory, especially in auditing, right? I don't know what to start with. The question is very nice. Okay, I know the answer, but what I know is only the conclusion. I know last two lines of the conclusion. Now, how do I start with? There is a big confusion for me that where to start. Then where to start? Pick from the question. Your question itself, has an answer in it. So pick like a first line of a question which has 2 to 3 keywords. Pick that to be your answer. Answer start points. Like pick the question and then take from the question answer. So whenever you don't, and especially in auditing, this is important, right? Because we don't know, it is not like companies act where I can say as per the provisions of section so and so, right? It is not starting with something, and therefore how do I start? You can start anywhere. Destination is important, how you start does not matter. So start from what is the most appropriate word in the question. Go from the question. Ensure to have introduction in the question, explanation to the question, and the conclusion to the question, right? And differentiate between some of the important words. Tell me what, for example, if the question says define, right? Non-compliance in SA 250, just define non-compliance. Don't try and explain for 1.5 pages, especially in CA final. I think I would have told you this in the class also, that there is every word carries its own importance. Examine, explain, discuss, comment, define cannot be the same. If the first question says define non-compliance, second question says discuss non-compliance, the answers are different. Right? We'll have to catch the word and look at the abbreviation and then write what the answer, what is the answer most required for that. Differentiate, very importantly, the law questions and accounting questions in auditing. Sometimes there's a question from company law. For example, chapter 10 question comes from company law, right? But remember, it is company audit, right? Though you're writing company law, you're writing in company auditing examination. You have to bring an auditing element to it, right? You have to conclude from an auditing side. You have to bring SCAs interlinked to it. Ensure that you don't bring a flavor of a law in auditing, right? So make sure you're not ending with law, you're ending with auditing. Similarly, accounting question comes up. Let's say there's a question on goodwill impairment. Beautifully, I'll write, okay, AS 26, in AS so and so. All the paragraphs I remember, accounting, I just finished the exam, everything is in top of my head. I will write all of that. But what I'm asking is not how to do goodwill impairment. What I'm asking you is management has already done goodwill impairment. As an auditor, how do I audit? Please remember that very clearly. There is a consolidation question, NCI, non-controlling interest. Okay. Now, fair valuation. Immediately, I know the answer, I will write. I am not expecting you to write what you do in NCI fair valuation. What we're expecting in auditing is how do you audit the fair valuation aspect of an NCI, right? What are the assertions you use? What are the documents you verify? What is the procedure you follow, right? What is the reperformance or recalculations that you do? What are the other considerations that you will consider, either from a 501 perspective? Maybe is there anything from a segment point of view that I should be looking at? 250 perspective, anything from a law perspective or legal regulation point of view, should I look at it? Right? 560, anything on a subsequent event side, should I be careful about? So your mind should immediately react to get an auditing answer to an accounting question in auditing exam. Get an auditing answer to company law question in auditing exam. This is most important. Don't vomit what you've read in other subjects, right? Create a beautiful salad out of other subject and present it in examination. Professional ethics question, I'm sure you know how to remember. Shetty sir has given you the abbreviation to remember, the key word to remember. What is a key word to remember the clauses? Anyone in the Zoom?
Upper pause,
Upper.
upper pause,
Say it again.
upper pause, upper pause.
Ah, excellent. Okay, so you only know this. Please, I think sir has told me to tell you all of this. So please remember that word very nicely and remember, I think the explanation to it pretty nicely. And you know what is most important in professional ethics? Important is to remember at least give a reference. If you know, give a reference to a clause number, part number, schedule number, right? Reiterate or reproduce wordings of the clauses as it is to the extent possible. the clauses are most important part of professional ethics. So try to write in the way the clause is addressing. Do not make your own clause out of it, right? So ensure that you use the words as it is, as much and to the extent that you can try doing it. Reference is very important. Even in professional ethics, it is not an island by itself. Do not make isolated, because Shetty sir has taught that to me. And the Asha ma'am thought essays, these are two different islands. No, you have to bring together. There are references to essays in professional ethics. You need to bring essays references in professional ethics. Ensure that interlinking is very, very, very strongly established in the subject of auditing. Do not forget, your mind has to keep thinking about what to interlink and what should be my qualitative answer to present in the examination. Right? Conclusion is most important. If there is no conclusion, then you know what am I thinking about? You said everything, but you haven't concluded, right? Conclusion is very important in professional ethics question, because most are case study questions. Again, professional ethics, company audit, most are case study questions. Essays, some are direct questions, some are indirect questions, and most are again case study oriented question. Miscellaneous chapters, most are procedural driven questions. How do I do this? How do you verify this? How do I do this? So you have to just have your own couple of, I think, documents in place to write that examination answer. You need to know, okay, if this is bank advances, these are the 10 things that I need to know. So that answers should be ready in your mind. Let's get a little bit exam oriented, right? Very important in auditing is, when I look at the question paper, you know how it is? It is like that Tare's MEP movie where that boy gets all the question marks, right? The minute you look at the first question, which is of essay, all the essays will round us. 200, 210, 220, 250, 320, 315. Everything is revolving. So read the question carefully. See what is that they're asking you, right? Are they asking you question about 200, or are they asking you question about 315? If the question is 315, you may have to reference something from 200, but the conclusion has to be from a 315 side. Read the question carefully, right? Very carefully. Look at which essay is appropriate for the question. They may start this, okay, you're a new auditor for the company. There is an inventory in that company, hence how do you audit it? The minute I say new auditor, I might go ahead and think, okay, 510, but here 510 is only a enabling answer, right? Where is the question? Where the question is lying? Question is lying in 501, right? Specific consideration related to inventory. So I'll have to be very quick in understanding what examiner is expecting out of me, right? And don't be panic. Sometimes, what happens is, it's the same question asked in a different manner. You would have read the question, read the answer, you know the answer, but because it's changed, they've changed the way the question is framed. You might be thinking that I don't know this question. So don't be panic. Read again and again, right? Read the question, and while you're reading itself, make yourself very familiar with what are all the interlinks you have to establish. That is most important. And don't use wrong SCA numbers, wrong section numbers, right? And most and very most important point is your writing skills. Speed of writing, quality of writing, depth of writing, right? All the three you have to ensure. I have to write at that speed, I have to write at that depth, right? It has to have a content in it. If I'm talking, there has to be a content in it, right? If I'm writing, there has to be a content in it, right? You have to be ensuring all of these three things while you're writing. Presentation is most important, mix of charts, diagrams, but ensure that you don't leave at chart. Okay, I've written a chart. Okay, assertion means, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, or account balance, class of transaction, presentation and disclosure. Perfect. But then who will explain that? You don't expect examiner to explain that for you. If you have written a chart, it is only for presenting the better view to examiner. A chart itself is not an explanation, right? Remember very clearly, do not end anything at chart, like saying, okay, I've written a chart, now let examiner figure it out. He will make things out of it. He will not figure it out, right? So you have to be very careful about not giving an examiner an unnecessary feeling that you don't know anything other than charts. Be very clear about writing the explanation. Most important, don't waste time. 3 hours is very important. That minute, don't crib. Okay, what if I would have read this? What if my friend was sitting next to me? What if I would have been able to make one call? This MCQ I know, but I'm not able to answer. What's the point now? You're already in exam hall. You have to fight the battle, right? Don't think about anything else. Don't waste time, right? Ensure that you're just writing and writing and writing. And this principle, again, I would have taught you that 180 minutes is there for 100 marks, right? Therefore, you have to be careful. And especially in CA final auditing, some questions are 2 marks, some are 4 marks, some are 6 marks. Be very clear about time management. Strategically divide your time. 2 marks question, 4 marks question, 6 marks question. Number of interlinks are not based on how much you know. Number of interlinks are based on how much examiner is expecting. If I know 2 marks question very well, I may write 1.5 page. But do remember that you have to write that 1.5 page in 3 minutes only. Okay, you cannot take 6 minutes to write 1.5 page, then you're short of another 2 marks. Right? So that time management is very important. If you have a good knowledge, you have prepared well, if you're presenting well, the game is over, right? You are the winner. Some of the things, let me quickly repeat it for you, right? Write essays, section numbers, or case laws only if you know it, right? No relationship between a length of the answer and the, the marks to the question, right? This is not related. If the answer is right, even if it is 4 lines, you'll get marks. But you have to be very careful about giving a right answer. For case study question, give facts, provisions, analysis, and conclusions, right? Be very clear about direct question, indirect question, and what are the study questions. ICI format answers are important. As much as possible, try to stick to ICI format answers. Try at least 2 questions, write down, please. Practice to write down a case study, just like 2 case studies, so that you know how the entire tuning of the answer has to go in examination. So I think start with that confidence, and these are some of the quick important things that I wanted to tell you. Nothing about the subject, but all about what you know, just putting it together to refresh you once that now you're recharged, you know what to do. Another most important thing before I end this, right? Keywords are very important. I kept on telling you this, right? Underline the keywords, underline important points, right? Bring to the attention of an examiner important points of that particular answer, most important, right? So keep this in mind. I will just pause here, see if any of you have any questions. If you want to ask me anything, you were like you felt comfortable, let me just take like less than half a minute to see if you have any questions. Any questions, anything? Okay, no questions. Perfect. Okay, so this is something which yesterday I told one nice story to IPCC students. They were very much relaxed after hearing the story. Then I thought, okay, I'll continue storytelling to you also for the next maybe 5 minutes that I have, and I'm very conscious that thanks to you that you've given me that time, and and it's very valuable, right? So the time that you're giving it for this session is a very valuable time. I totally appreciate you giving this time, and I'm really thankful to all of you, and I pray God that each one of you who are writing the exam has to clear the exam, right? And you will definitely make it happen. So with this, I'll tell you one very nice small story about the story I'm sure most of the parents would have told. We know this, it's not that we don't know the story, but I felt very appropriate for CA final students. Now, what is the story? In the middle of the city, there is a beautiful marble museum. It's so beautiful. Everything is made out of marble. All the floor is made out of marble, and everybody is stepping on the marble, enjoying that pure marble views. And then in the middle of that museum, there is an extraordinary statue made out of marble. Look, I think carved so well that everyone who is walking will just stand, take a picture from that marble. I mean, marble statue. They will just admire. This is so beautiful. I mean, no fault at all, no flaw at all. How can any statue be so beautiful? Everyone will admire. Everyone will surround it. Some people, in fact, just sit opposite to that marble statue, and they actually draw that. So the marble statue gets a complete attention in the entire marble museum. So what happens with all of this? One day, the marble tile started talking to a marble statue and asked this marble statue that it is so unfair. People step on me with slippers and shoes, and the kids throw things on me, and everybody step on me, and they just come to you and they admire you. They just praise you so much. It is so unfair. We are of the same breed. Both of us are marbles. We are from same mine, right? We both came in the same lorry. We both ended with the same sculpture, but it is so unfair. Life is so unfair. Why is it happening to me? The marble statue says, no, I agree. You did not finish the story. Yes, you are right. We both came to a same sculpture, but do you remember how the sculptor chose you first, and he tried the tools on you first to make a statue, and you started breaking down? And this marble tile said, that guy is so horrible. I really hate that person. How can he hurt me? He used that sharp tools which I couldn't take it. This guy is, someone whom I really hate. Then the statue said, this is exactly what I did not do. Because you could not resist, he gave up on you and he picked on me. And I knew that if I resist, if I take this pain, right? If I stand by whatever is, emotions that I'm going through right now, if I stand by the stress that I'm going through right now, but I don't break, because I know I'll have to get into a final stage. If I stand, I know I will become something. And therefore, I decided to just take all the pain, all those sharp needles, all of that tools that he applied on me. I did not crack at all. And that is an ultimate result of what I am today, right? And which means, what I'm saying, right? Life as a sculpture wants to make a masterpiece out of you, right? Whether it is CA final examinations or whether, all of that, what we are going through, the life tests you to become a masterpiece. The question is whether you are ready to handle it, right? Are you ready to handle every test, every hard knocks, stress, disappointments? And most importantly, tell me what? Are you ready to handle this final exam, right? You've done so well, you've come so far, and this is so appropriate for CA final students that we're so matured, we've come all the way. There is no point getting broken at all, right? You will do very well in examination. Trust your confidence, trust your hard work, trust, the creator, right? I think you did amazing. How many days you wouldn't have had breakfast and attended classes, right? I mean, I've seen how many days you've done articleship across the city. You were roaming and then you did all sacrifices. All of this will pay off, right? You just have to handle this one exam very well, and the success is yours, right? This is what I wanted to tell you. I think I'm so happy to connect to you, some of you here, few of you on the Zoom, and few of you on the YouTube live. If I could at least get some stress out of you, I feel myself very lucky, right? And I just wanted to ensure that you're comfortable, you're doing very well in exam. I wish you all the best. There is a great future for all of you. You've done very well so far and you'll continue to do well. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, see you and do very well in your exam.